Hello, happy Monday, and welcome to Making Waves with Moanna Adams. I'm your host, Moanna, a teenage girl with a lot to say and a lot more to learn. Hi guys, welcome to episode 52. Today we are talking about thriving, not surviving, and how you can fall in love with being a teenager. I'm really excited for this episode. It's an idea I had 2 days ago, and I was like, this is going to be a great episode. I really want to record this right now because I saw that who was it? I think it was Caitlin Nolan posted a podcast episode where she talked about falling in love with doing a 9-to-5 job. And I was like, that's really smart. But what if I did it for teenagers and falling in love with, having to go to school every day and still being at home? And we're going to get into all of that. But first, my current obsession this week is peanut butter and jelly with strawberries. I have never been a big PB&J fan, but my little sister was making a PB&J yesterday, and I was like, I kind of want one for myself. So I made one, and I put slices of strawberries in the middle, and it was so good. I have eaten so many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the last 2 weeks. It's crazy. Probably more than I've eaten my entire life. So good. So good. And I toast the bread. Just try it. Seriously, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, basic ones, no, I don't want one of those. Put strawberry slices in it, or banana slices in it, or Nutella in it. Just make it unique, and it's 10 times better and more delicious. This week's High Tide is somebody that I talked about last week, but Maddie B. Webb. Still don't know how to say her last name, but this girl is amazing. I talked about last week. She is one of the OGs on my feed, someone I've been following since I was 12 years old on Pintrest, and now I'm about to be 17, have my own podcast, wild. But Maddie is seriously, she's a really great educator. She has a podcast, In Bed with Maddie Weeb. Just an amazing person to follow all around. I talked about her a ton last week, so I'm not going to get into it, but definitely make sure you go and follow her. Now, let's get into the episode because I really want to talk about this. I've been so excited to talk about this all week. Or not even all week, since I had this idea 3 days ago. But this is how you are going to fall in love with being a teenager and, go from surviving your teenagers to thriving in your teenagers and just loving them. I hated being a teen for so long. Absolutely despised it. I was just ready to be an adult and move out and just live my life. And, I always say that being a teenager means being too old for half the things you want to do and too young for the other half. And I also think that when you're a teenager, most of the time you are treated like a child and expected to act like an adult. So, being a teenager sometimes sucks. I've talked to a lot of adults recently who have told me, I would never want to go back to being a teenager. Being a teenager is so hard and challenging, and of course, being an adult is hard, but they just said, that's one age I would never want to go back to. But I'm sitting here, I'm obsessed with being a teenager. I am not ready to turn 17. I love being 16, and I know I'm going to love being 17 and 18, and just realize that, not everybody loves it as much as I do, and I didn't used to love it as much as I do now at all. I mean, even just a couple months ago, I don't think I loved it as much as I do now. And so, being me, I'm very independent, I don't like being told what to do, and I'm so ambitious, I'm ready to chase my adult goals and things like that, but you also have to remember you're still a teenager, you're still living at home, you're still going to school, and you don't have as much control over your life, which can be frustrating when, you have your own ideas and thoughts and goals and plans. So today I wanted to kind of give you some advice and explain how I've fallen in love with being a teenager over the last year and how you can try to enjoy it more and be a little bit less miserable, I guess. Because I think you have two choices. You can sit around and complain about all the things you want to do but can't do and the things you don't want to do but have to do. Or you can fall in love with where you are in life right now because it will not last long, and it will not stay like this forever. I am so disappointed that I didn't enjoy my first couple years of high school and enjoy middle school more. And I also think that this is something that, of course, comes with growing up and maturing, is realizing that, you know, you're not quite ready to be an adult as much as you thought you were when you were 14 or 13. I feel like a lot of us, when we're 13, 12, we're, like, tired of being a kid already, and we're ready to be an adult. And then you become an older teenager, and you're like, wait, no, like, go back, I want to be a kid for longer. And so I think it's really important to do your best to enjoy whatever teenage years you have left. And so, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start with romanticizing daily life at home and at school. Because the reality is you are living with your parents, you're still in school, and there's not much you can do to change that. You just have to, you know, wait and see how things go. But I think that romanticizing has seriously changed the game for me. Anytime I'm feeling low and I'm just not enjoying life like I normally do, it usually ends with me realizing that it's because I haven't been romanticizing life like I normally do. I've stopped paying attention to details and appreciating little moments. Because I am a big daydreamer. I was talking to a friend about this the other day, but I am always daydreaming and, you know, thinking about my goals and my future, and just, I'm a huge daydreamer. So romanticizing really helps me stay more present and makes the moments that I'm in feel more dreamy and enjoyable. I think that a lot of people say romanticize life, but there's never really a how. You know, how do you romanticize life is not usually there. And I have a full older episode on this. It's from like September. I did like a full romanticizing 101, how to actually romanticize your life. But for an overview / updated version, I think it's really about perspective and shifting your views to say that no matter what's happening right now, I am going to do my best to enjoy it and get the most out of it that I possibly can. And I think that there are definitely small habits that you can incorporate that make romanticizing and enjoying your day-to-day a little more fun and easy. So, number 1, getting outside. If you have an outdoor space that you can just do your normal activities outside, even if you're just sitting outside to scroll. You know, if you're going to scroll, at least do it outside. I think that it makes it, 10 times better and feels more productive because at least you're getting out and you're getting sunlight and fresh air. I think that that's a really great way to just romanticize basic, boring moments. Next is just actually getting ready more often or even daily and overdressing. I think that being overdressed is way better than being underdressed. I always dress like I have somewhere better to be later. Always, because it makes things more fun and exciting, and just I think that's what romanticizing really is just making basic, small, meaningless moments more exciting and fun to experience. Next is listening to music and making playlists for different moods. Y'all know I love music and I love making playlists. So, you know, make a playlist for when you're getting ready in the morning, for when you're on your way to school, when you're on your way home from school, when you're studying, when you're whatever it is. Make one for every single moment with specific songs and just really enjoy making those playlists and then using them and utilizing them to make your everyday moments feel more like a movie and make you feel a little bit more of a main character. Next is reading. I talk about reading all the time, but specifically, I think 101 essays that will change the way you think. Seriously change the way I think. This book is amazing, and I think it's really great for people who don't like to read because each essay is only like 2-3 pages long. So it's very easy to just read one essay a day, or, you know, maybe read the ones that just interest you, whatever it is. But they are so incredibly useful, and most of them are in list form. So if you're not really a reader, I think it's very simple and easy to read because they're all in lists. So it makes it much easier to sit down and read rather than a full novel or, you know, some old guy spewing his thoughts all the time. It's short, easy to read, almost like you're reading an article off your phone. Next little habit that you can do to romanticize your life a little bit more is to observe, watch, and listen. I have worked really hard to put more energy and be more intentional about just observing around me. It definitely helps you get out of your own head and pay more attention to the little details around you, because seriously, everything around us has so much detail that you just don't really notice, and I think it's really helps me shift my perspective when I get out of my head a little bit and I just look around at the smallest details, like that one little speckle of fuzz on your pants, or the grains in the wood on the kitchen table. Simple things like that. Next is one of my favorite things, and it's taking pictures. I take pictures of everything, and it just helps me see the beauty in everyday life a little bit more. And last but not least is mini adventures. I can make a whole episode on mini adventures, and I feel like I should. I kind of feel like episode 48 was a big list of basically mini adventures that you could do, but I think that mini adventures just make everyday life more exciting and spontaneous. You know, late night ice cream runs, picnics, hikes, museums, and also help you explore your own town a little bit. I have been to and driven through hundreds and hundreds of cities in America, because if you're new, I spent 48 weeks living in an RV with my family. We did 48 states in 48 weeks, and we stayed at least one night in every single state, but most states we spent about a week in, and we stayed in probably 50-ish cities. And you know, when we stayed there, it was like we lived there for a week, and you know, we grocery shopped in that city. We did all the things somebody would do that they would do if they normally lived there, but we did it just in that city for 1 week. And first of all, huge perspective shifter, but also it made me realize that every single town in the US really has their own little attractions. Even the smallest towns have their own thing. For example, Terralingua, Texas is a small town on the border of Mexico. It's near Big Bend National Park, and the population of the town is about 101 people. That's like 2 to 4 American classrooms. Like, that's how many people were in the whole town. And even they had things to do. And almost every town has its own little museum about something. So, you know, just look around your own town and see what are the things that you overlook on a daily that could become an adventure. Next way to fall in love with being a teenager is to say yes more and to say no more. So say yes to trying new things and getting out of your comfort zone. Say yes to opportunities. When you're in high school, no matter what your circumstances are, you are surrounded by opportunities. There are always things to learn, internships you can apply for, jobs you can apply for, people that you can network with and make connections with. I most recently went to a youth summit that my county's DA office put on. It was completely free, and basically it was an outreach program, got students to come in. It was over spring break, and it was 2 days long, and basically we just heard a bunch of guest speakers and got to connect with them and the things that their nonprofits and their companies are doing. And I think that there are opportunities like that all over the place, and especially with the internet now, there are so many things that you can apply for and try, and of course some of them come with costs, but many of them don't. And so, you know, say yes to opportunities, because you really are surrounded by them and have so many options when you're young and are in later high school years, especially because of course college is coming up, so you have to get, if you're going to college, you usually need different things on your resume, and so there's always opportunities to do things like that. And say no to spending time and energy on things that don't align with your goals or your highest self. So saying yes and saying no more often in the appropriate times, I think is really, really important. Another thing that's helped me fall in love with being a teenager is realizing that I don't have that many responsibilities and there aren't people relying on me. Now, I will say, when you're a teenager, this is the last time until you're probably like elderly and like 85 years old that you don't have any real bills to pay. You know, you're not responsible for most of the things that are necessary for you to survive, but you are grown enough to where you have the independence to do things and explore things and learn. I mean, for most of us, the biggest responsibility you have is homework and maybe an after-school job. And I will say, of course, there are teens out there with a lot more responsibility than others and who are responsible for other people and things like that. But the general population of teenager, you don't have people relying on you. So you have the freedom to take risks. And when I say take risks, I mean like starting a business or exploring things that interest you, because there are not people who are relying on you. And of course, you have responsibilities, but not like your parents do, not like the adults around you do. And so you have the freedom and also the independence to try new things and to get out of your comfort zone and to pursue different opportunities. Next is another thing that kind of goes with romanticizing, but journaling, scrapbooking, or documenting your teenage years somehow. It makes you feel like you're the main character in a movie, and it also gives you something to look back on. Or that maybe one day if you have kids, they will want to look back and see what you were like as a teenager. And like I said, it just helps so much with romanticizing. It's pretty straightforward. I have a full episode on journaling, but I think that journaling, while I say there is a way to journal for everybody, scrapbooking or documenting with like vlogs and things like that is definitely more, I think more people enjoy that than journaling. So just finding a way that you want to document and keep track of the things you do, the things you like and enjoy, and the people you hang out with, I think is a really great way to romanticize and just enjoy being a teenager a little bit more. And last but not least is creating content. I recently filmed a video, I think, on this, but I never posted it, so I'm going to talk about it now. But creating content is a skill. And it's something that I started doing when I was 15, I think is when I actually started creating content. And I think this is something that every single teenager who has access to the internet and social media should start doing. Because, first of all, it's a great way to document, like I said before. But content creation really is a skill. And it's definitely not as easy as most people think it is. Filming, editing, planning, all those things are much more challenging than most people think. But I think that there is so much value in understanding social media and how to build an audience because it is the way that things are right now, and they might not be like this forever, but the social media world is now the main way that companies market. It's just a huge part of our lives, and I think that understanding it at a higher level is so important. And starting to build an audience now is going to make whatever you end up doing in the future 10 times easier. If you want to be an author and you've been posting content since you were 10 and you have, even if it's just, in 10 years all you have is 10,000 followers, that's 10,000 people who might want to buy your book. Or if, you become a hair and makeup artist and you start creating content now, there's tons of people who will know that you're a hair and makeup artist. They will, be potential clients. So, no matter what you end up doing in the future, having an audience there that supports you will make it so much easier. And it really is for any profession. I mean, there are doctors and lawyers who give advice on TikTok. There are hairstylists and construction people and real estate agents. Literally any profession that you can think of, you've probably seen them on TikTok, on social media posting. And so just learning how to do that now can make whatever you want to do in the future 10 times easier. And you also don't have to take it so seriously, because you can, even just practicing on your own and not even posting it, not even building an audience, but just understanding how it works and learning and practicing creating content, I think is super valuable too, because at least it's a skill that you have and one that you can utilize in so many ways in the future. So, this week's homework: number 1, try something new. Number 2, look for opportunities around you, because I promise you, when you start looking, they are everywhere. Number 3, romanticize your life a little bit more. And number 4, practice content creation, learn about it more. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. If you love this podcast and you want to show your support, please leave a rate and review, as well as follow me on social media at the moannaadams or at makingwaves.ma. Also, make sure to follow this show so you never miss another episode. Don't forget to drink your water, and I will talk to you later.